There is no excuse for killing, hitting, blasting civilian population. And this applies also on the Istanbul attack. The blast that happened in Istanbul, and I think it killed over 7 or 8 civilians. What's the purpose of killing civilian population in a touristic area? If you wanted to kill Turkish people, who told you that all the people who walk there and go to the shopping are Turks? And what did you benefit from it? And these questions are very important. And for me, I completely condemn this attack. I have my disagreements with Turkey. I have my severe, I would say, disagreements with the ruling elite or the ruling regime in Ankara. However, there is no excuse for blowing up civilian population. However, I would like to mention a few things regarding what happened in the Istanbul attack. First of all, the suspect, and the picture of the suspect was circulated all over the place. Turkish authorities arrested her and showed her pictures everywhere, and I think that goes against the legal procedure, right? If she's still a suspect, we don't know if she did it or not, but it seems that they are sure that she did this operation. Just by judging from her look, I found a hard time to believe that she's from Syria, just to be clear. I know in Syria we have not a unique one, like how we look is not unique. There are different communities, each look different. But honestly, I haven't seen a Kurdish female who looks like her. Anyways, maybe she is, but that's not the point. Today we have a very important political and security event in Turkey, and it will have repercussions not only in Turkey but also in Syria, and I will explain to you how. First things first, this come in November 2022, and in mid-2023 there are elections in Turkey. And who's going to benefit from this? Obviously Erdogan, because he will point his finger to the Kurds. He will mobilize his supporters and those who are now in the middle. This is the most important part. The people who support Erdogan, they will continue supporting him. There is no way to change their mind, especially those who are ideologues, Islamists, Muslim Brotherhood, sympathizers, etc. But those who are in the middle, that Erdogan lost in the past few years, and by using this attack against the Kurdish people, he will try to steer a nationalistic and Islamistic feelings again among the society. And the people when the people are afraid from a terrorist attack, from a security events, etc., they will go and vote for Erdogan. This is in my opinion. So he is definitely one of the benefactors of this attack. The second thing that is very important here, when you point your finger to a Kurd and say that this person was trained in Syria, and from Syria she was transferred into Turkey to conduct such a terrorist attack, I think you want to expand the benefits, what you can benefit from this attack, right? So what we're going to see next is Erdogan will threaten to attack again northern Syria. He will ask the Americans, the Russians, etc., that he has security concerns, and I think the Russian and the American side will not object the Turkish demands. However, I also believe that the Russian side will ask the Turkish side to negotiate with the Syrian side in this regard. And here comes the real issue. We know that in the past few months, the Turkish side is showing some flexibility towards the Syrian government, and no, we don't mind dealing with the Syrian government. They have some mutual interests. There was a sideline meeting between the foreign minister of Syria and the foreign minister of Turkey, and this could develop. So what will happen next is Erdogan will threaten to invade northern Syria again. He will threaten the Kurds in northern Syria, and the Russian side will propose to the Turkish side to cooperate with the Syrian side. So here comes the importance. If Turkey does that, and Turkey proposes a joint security cooperation with the Damascus side. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe this proposal could find ears in Damascus. And from the Damascus point of view, the negotiations with the Kurdish groups, let's say in northern Syria and eastern Syria, is not fruitful, because whether we like it or not, the YPG, the PKK, the SDF, etc., they are all under the American jurisdiction. They're under American influence. And the United States doesn't want to withdraw from Syria. They want to keep the oil fields for themselves. And the Kurds are helping the American occupation forces there, right? So the Syrians have a priority, which is to kick out the Americans and also deal with the terrorism scene in Idlib. So there could be a grand compromise between Syria and Turkey if the Turkish side proposes to Damascus to cooperate against the Kurdish presence in northern and eastern Syria. And if that happens, if the Syrian and the Turkish side cooperate and the Russians join, I think we will see big changes in the geopolitical scene in north, east, and also in Idlib. Because Syrians aren't going to accept to cooperate with Turkey unless Turkey shows real tendency and work on the ground in Afrin, in Idlib, in Jarablus, etc., by disarming the terrorist groups, especially the hardcore jihadists there, and the fate of the multinational jihadists in this area. And as we may know, Idlib is the largest safe haven for Al-Qaeda terrorists in the entire world. And these terrorists are under the jurisdiction of Turkey. So the compromise here would be, if Syria cooperates on a security level with Turkey to bring the northern belt, the northern border under Syrian government jurisdiction, and if Turkey allows that for the Syrian government to come and restore these areas, then Turkey should also cooperate in Idlib and allow the Syrian government to recapture this area. This is the most important geopolitical event that could happen in 2023. If Syria and Turkey cooperate before the elections in Turkey, I think Erdogan will win. I think Syria will restore big swath of northern Syria. Idlib could be a little bit delayed, but this could be the deal. And at the same time, there would be a huge pressure, diplomatic, political, and military pressure on the American occupation forces to leave Syria. So I think it's a win-win case between Syria and Turkey. And if Russia mediates between them, I think this would be fruitful. My personal opinion is, I never wanted for the Kurds to be in this position. I always wanted the Kurds to be on the side of the Syrians. I always wanted for the talks to be fruitful between the Kurds and the Syrian government. That didn't happen because one reason is the stubbornness of the Kurds or the leadership of the Kurdish groups, and on the other side is the American occupation forces who control these groups. This is the unfortunate truth. And now the Kurds could be the biggest loser of this geopolitical endgame in Syria. I didn't want that, but I'm just expecting that. And I wish it never happened, and I wish that they would join again the Syrian fabric, the Syrian society, and accept the Syrian state institutions. But it is what it is. They wanted their federal system and also separation, etc., etc., and now they're paying a huge price. Although a lot of people warned them in Syria, in Russia, in Iran, even the former ambassador to Syria, American ambassador to Syria, warned the Kurds that the United States is not going to protect the Kurds on the long run. But they didn't listen. I would like to also mention something. The same day that the blast happened in Istanbul, on the same night, Israel bombed Syria, in central Syria, Homs, Shayrat airbase. This is the same airbase that Trump bombed after the alleged chemical attack in Khan Sheikhun. Back then, Trump said he bombed the chemical infrastructure of the Syrian army. And I mean, if he bombed the chemical infrastructure, we would have seen leaks, but it never happened. Anyways, most of the world condemned rightfully the attack in Istanbul, but no one condemned the attacks on Syria. And when I say no one, I mean most of the nations. And except for Lebanon, no Arabic country condemned the attack on Syria. It's unprovoked attack, and it's in central Syria. Israel claims that we're bombing in Damascus, in southern Syria, because there are weapons, Iranian presence, etc., etc. In central Syria, it's 400 kilometers away from the borders. What's the excuse of bombing Sharat Air Base? Even if there is weapons there. I mean, all countries have weapons. There are tens of billions worth of weapons are going every day to Ukraine. If any country wants to bomb this convoy, for example, in Poland, if Russia wants to bomb them, is it okay? Syria has the right to have weapons to defend itself, right? I mean, this should be logical. Anyways, Lebanon is the only country who condemned, but what can even Lebanon do? Lebanon doesn't even have an air defense system. And it is not allowed for Lebanon to have an air defense system. This is an information that you should know. Lebanon is divided. Some political groups are pro-Syria, pro-Iran, etc. Some groups are pro-United States, pro-Saudi Arabia. And the group that is pro-Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the United States, they always block the Lebanon's purchase of air defense systems. So that is why you don't have a strong Lebanese military, and that's one of the reasons why there is Hezbollah, because the state actor, which is the army, is incapable of fighting, and also there is a veto on the purchase of the Lebanese army for air defense systems. So the Israeli warplanes are just like flying without any problems over the skies of Lebanon. And see, since 2018, last time Israel violated the airspace of Syria through by F-16s, one of their F-16s were gunned down. So since then, they're not violating the airspace. They're shooting inside Syria, bombing Syria. But whether it's either from the skies of Lebanon, or from the regional waters of the Mediterranean, or from the occupied Golan Heights. So this is also happening on a daily basis, and unfortunately, no condemnation, no solidarity, no Syrian flag in the bios, etc., etc. Anyways, I just wanted to shed light on this. I think probably we're coming to a big grand compromise between Syria and Turkey next year, and if that happens, the entire geopolitical scene, as I mentioned, will change in northern Syria, in eastern Syria, and also in Idlib. Let me know your opinion. Do you agree with me? Do you also expect a grand compromise between Syria and Turkey? And do you also agree with me that Turkey will use this terrorist attack in a maximum way to have electoral gains in favor of Erdogan, and at the same time eliminating the Kurdish presence and threat for Turkey in northern Syria? Let me know your opinion in the comments below. I've been your host, Kalmasyan of Syrian Analysis. If you're new, please consider subscribing and hit the like button if you want to support my work. There are so many means in the description below, and see you next time.